Hi everyone, some gamer dude here. So I'm going to be really open with you. I'm experiencing a bit of burnout. I just really don't have it in me to reply to comments. I really don't want to make anything too intensive. And I just really need some time off. I need some time off even thinking or talking about cards at all. So I'm going to be pretty ghosty on the Discord as well. But to make some content to tide everything over so nothing screwy with YouTube happens, I felt it was in my best interest to just make some videos about something that'd be easy to make. And I thought, because I know I've got viewers that like Magic the Gathering quite a bit, it'd be interesting for me to just talk about where I'm coming from with Magic, my experiences with it, and show off what decks I have. I'm going to have to break this video into multiple sections, so hey, it'll go for a few weeks. But yeah, so I knew about Magic in the early 2000s. I got some Kamigawa deck boxes and sleeves, but that was about the length of it. I felt resentment towards the game when Duel Masters ended, because that was one of the reasons given: go play Magic. And when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! At locals back in the day, I was told, don't go interact with the Magic players. They're old people that like old people things, and they don't like new people coming in. And you know, that's just the tribalism of TCGs, unfortunately. That's something I've been asked to talk about later on. And there is a comment I got recently that's made me want to talk about tribalism and toxic positivity and whatnot. But when I got really fed up with how Force of Will was going, because it was essentially just, hey, it's this card from Magic. I remember there was a red-white card that specifically sparked this, and I really wasn't happy with how things were going in Force of Will back then anyway. This was around CFC. I didn't like how a few things just planned out, and to be quite honest, I was really enraptured by Mad's art for Faria. So we picked up, well, me and one friend at the time picked up the Planeswalker decks for Kaladesh. No, I picked up some boosters for Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon, because I really liked the aesthetics. Then we picked up the Planeswalker decks for Kaladesh when that came out, and that was my introduction to Magic. So I actually had some old quick start boxes from a Supernova back in the day. They were giving them away for free. I think they were the first Magic cards I got. Anyway, I picked up the Nissa Planeswalker deck. The reason I did so was because at the time the professor was saying, look at something or other. Electrostatic Pummeler, is that the card? I think that's the card. Got it in this deck. Because it's really good and it's cheap at the moment, and I got the Nissa deck for that. I actually had my heart set on a Vampire deck from Shadows over Innistrad / Eldritch Moon, but it felt like a good place to start. I actually rather enjoyed the Planeswalker decks. I think that's something of a hot take, that I like Magic starter decks. I think they are a good introduction into the game. They're not a good introduction into competitive play. They're not really good to take to locals, but I think versus themselves, I think they're a lot of fun. So I end up getting, Jesus, that curve there. I ended up making it red-green, because that was the best combination for energy. As soon as Frontier came around, I switched over to Frontier from not New Frontiers, Standard, because I didn't really want to keep up with the Joneses, and I didn't really have the motivation to do so. And when Pioneer, so many similar names, came around, I switched this deck back to what it really should be. So let's just get through it. So Long Tusk Club, I really like that one. I got a play set of those. Voltaic Brawler, 4 of those, I believe. It's go up and gain trample, which is pretty good. You'll notice I pick up a bit of red, green, and blue. They seem to be the colours I like the most. Architect of the Untamed, I do have the tokens for that. It creates a colourless beast token fairly easily, which I don't think is that bad. I've got 4 of those. Yeah, Electrostatic Pummel, that's the guy. It's got that good finishing move. So I've got 4 copies of him. Got them when they were cheap, then they went expensive, and I think they're worthless again. Same with Bristling Hydra. I picked up one when Kaladesh first came out, and then it got expensive, relatively speaking, and then it became cheap again, and guess I should pick up another one. Tune with Aether was banned for a while in a format, so they're not banned in Pioneer, I believe. I've got 4 of those. Larger than life, there's probably something cheaper I could run now that'll give less of a buff but still give trample. I don't know. 4 of those. Blossoming Defense, basically a counter spell for creatures in green because it gives hexproof. I think it's a pretty good card. Got a play set of those. This might actually be very similar to a deck that the professor was talking about. A few of these decks are taken off YouTube. In all honesty, we'll get up to decks that I've built myself later. I'm going to go in chronological order of how I bought. I think I've got like 8 copies of Harness Lightning, because for a while there I had a red-blue energy deck. I've got to rebuild it. Just, I want to change all the things. Inspired Fusion gives you energy and +3/+3. It's good for combat tricking instead of larger than life. Larger than life's part of the finisher. The hub, I'm pretty sure that's not worth very much now. Used to be very expensive for a very long time, and I think I might have 8 of those too. I've got to check. And then just forests and mountains. Yeah, forests and mountains. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mountains, and you could probably get the amount of forests from the rest. I'm not going to count them. So, as I said, the deck that I wanted to build when I started was Red-Black Vampires, the Madness one. I think I grabbed a build from the Mana Source and tweaked it a bit. At least it was either him or Strictly Better MTG. Strictly Better MTG is probably the Magic channel I like the most. I started off watching a lot of Desolated Magic until I got kind of tired of him, to be honest. I think he's the type of guy that you get, it's like, I need a bit of time away from you, mate. I don't really follow many MTG YouTubers anymore. I watched a bit of, what's Purple called these days? MTG Historian? Because he's spending a while changing his branding every 5 minutes. I find him annoying now. I watched a little bit of, what's that English guy? It's got a beard. Watch a little bit of him. I forget his name at the moment. I don't really care for a lot of the MTG YouTubers, to be honest. I think Strictly Better MTG is probably the only one I think is decent. So, as I said, this is based on a Mana Source one, but I ended up tweaking a bit. This one's actually interesting. I only ever went to one MTG event. It was a Standard Showdown. Got first with this one. And I did enjoy playing Magic at locals enough. I actually enjoyed playing the game. The problem half of it was I didn't really find the community that friendly. This is a problem I found with Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Because I actually tried to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Just before I picked up Force of Will again. I picked up 3 of the Shadow deck. I never talked about this on the channel, I believe. I believe I talked about Speed Duels, but not trying to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, let's just take a pause to talk about this. So, I picked up 3 of the Shadow deck. I got a build off internet, how to play. I do have a pretty decent understanding of how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, it's just 3 structure decks. You don't expect to do well. But honestly, it's that off-puttish lack of friendliness, the lack of community. I find it very off-putting, and it's like, I don't want to be here. I'll openly admit this. And this is sad for a man my age. The only people I actually liked playing with that day were little kids. Because they're the only ones that seemed like they wanted to have any type of enjoyment playing the game. And that left me kind of sad, to be honest. I mean, I remember the good old days where locals used to be on weekends. because it was catering to all ages, not just adults that don't have anything better to do on the week at nights. And it used to be more of a community. People used to make friends there. It doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels so cold and clinical. I don't like it. It makes it really hard to enjoy games beyond that casual level to me. It's like I could go play with people that clearly don't want to be here beyond playing the game, or I could go spend time with people that I enjoy their company and play games with them. And it's like, well, one of those choices is clearly better than the other. It's the one with actual friendship and companionship, camaraderie. It's people that you want to spend time with, not just, I want to get here, win packs, go home, that's it. But we are where we are, I guess. So, with that out of the way, and I'll try to go less into me being solemn and really upset about things in the later videos. So, as I said, I got a first with this one. I quite enjoyed this deck. It needs upgrades because it's still just Shadows of Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. With the new Innistrad stuff coming out, maybe this new Madness stuff, I think is pretty cool. Falconwrath Gorger gives all you guys Madness, your Vampires. It's also a 2-1 for 1, which is really, really good. I've got 4 copies of that. Furyblade Vampire sets off Madness at the beginning of the combat step and becomes a 5-2 for 2. It's got Trample. I think it's pretty good. Got 4 copies. Oh, I thought I had 3. Era of Falconwrath. It's another Madness enabler. Becomes a 3-2 with flying. To 2-1 for 2 that becomes a 3-2 with flying. I think that's pretty good. Really nice art. I like the art. This deck isn't double sleeved. It really should be. But yeah, it's just a 3-2 with flying. I don't think the art's as nice on the back. Actually, I think this deck is one of the few decks I've got that aren't in Ultra Pro sleeves. Because I think I bought, I forget what sleeves they are. But where I was like, I really wanted black sleeves because it's Vampires and it's got a lot of black cards. But yeah, this is one of the few MTG foils I have, and it's not really curved. So, wow. It's a double black 2-2 Stormcoat Condemned. Cork. Discard, it's out for Madness and gives you Vampires +1/+1, but you can only activate it once per turn. I have an extra one in the side deck. So there's that. Side deck really doesn't have anything interesting. It needs to be updated. Is this even focusing? I hope so. I hope it's focusing. Anyway, Drana, Liberator of Malakir. I really, really love this card. I really need to check if it's under $10 still, because I want to pick up at least another 4 of them. So I'd have 3-3, because I'd love to use another decks. Because I do have another Vampire deck, we'll get to that later. It's a 2-3, first strike flying, and gives everything +1/+1 counters after it does damage to a player. I caught people out with this one. Most because of its timing. Because it's got first strike, it gets the +1/+1 counters on everything on the first strike timing. Then everything else gets a +1/+1 counters. I had to even ask the guy running the store, because he's a judge. I know the ruling for this. Can you come over if I need you to point it out? And he was like, sure. And it did come up, and I'm like, it came up, and he's like, yeah, that is how it works. Really good card. Really like it. I don't know if it's in Power Curve today, because things have gotten dicey lately, but I really, really like it. I'd like to get one with the new frame for Legendary Creatures. I actually have a copy of Drana's original print. I actually wouldn't mind just collecting Drana cards, to be honest. I like it. Olivia, Mobilized for War. I don't really like this card, to be honest. It's a discard out for Madness, but it never feels like it's worth it. It's like, when you summon a creature, you can discard a card, and plus +1/+1 counter on the creature. It gains haste and becomes a vampire. It doesn't really feel all that great to me. I never really liked it. Felt like it could be used for something else. Same with Bloodhall Priest. It can help, but I think there's better stuff to run. Basically just starts doing damage to things and can be brought out for 3, and it's a 4/4, but it's really hard to get it to have no cards in your hand as far as I'm concerned. I think I've got 2 copies of that. So Distemper for Blood, it's a +2/+2 trample for Madness Red. You very rarely cast it for its own, and becomes instant when it's got the sorcery thing. Is that Arms of the Vein. This is where I discovered my love of life drain and life gain in Magic. I actually really like both of those mechanics, especially together. I got another vampire deck that works around this. So Madness becomes 1, and you drain your opponent 3, so you lose them 3, you gain 3. I think it's actually a really good discard out, and it's helped me win a few games. I think I actually won one of my games there. It's actually, because it becomes a burn card for 3, and you gain 3 life off it. I think that's great. Got a copy in the side deck too. Lightning Axe, so it's a 5 damage instant that forces Madness. That's pretty good. Grotesque Mutation, this is another one I like because I like gaining the life so it can just last a little bit longer. Gives a creature +3/+1 plus lifelink for 2. It's probably better cards now. I think there's one that gives lifelink and Death Touch or something, but I like it. 3 of those. Fiery Temper, this is another 3 damage Madness, but does it to target player or creature. It's also 3 cost if you need to. It's really not worth 3 cost. But I think it's a pretty good card. I think it's a reprint from the original Innistrad. Cinder Barons. In retrospect, I probably should just run Evolving Wilds. I should just buy tons of Evolving Wilds. Okay, so these tap lands, these cheapy tap lands that when you summon them, they come in tapped. If you're running basic lands, like I am, because I'm on basic lands, Evolving Wilds is always going to be better because even though it's just a 1-card filter, you are still filtering the deck. It has the same net result. You get the color you want, although this one can produce either one. It really depends on your hand as well. This does have some upsides, but overall, I think Evolving Wilds is a better card. And just 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 swamps, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mountains. So there must be 23 lands, which is usually about how much I run. So that's it for today's video. I'm sorry I got a bit ranty there, but they're just things that have been on my mind. Next week, I think we'll be going over a deck that I built online, and I'm not sure what else. I'll try to stick to 2 decks a week, so it's not too long and it doesn't feel too laggy either. So anyway, this has been Some Gamer Dude, and thanks for watching.